Greetings troopers, welcome to the Imperial Academy. This is the 8th video in a series of videos informing you about the Imperial Trooper Corps of the Galactic Empire. Today we will be looking at the destructive and dangerous Incinerator Troopers, and we'll be delving into their history, looking back at the clone Flame Troopers of the Galactic Republic. We will look at the characteristics and features of these troopers, and lastly look into how they are utilised in battle. But with that, feel free to leave a like and subscribe and comment if you enjoy Empire content or just Star Wars content in general, and maybe feel free to share this video with other like-minded Star Wars fans to show your allegiance to the Empire. But without further ado, let's talk about Incinerator Troopers. Equipped with a flamethrower and distinctive red and white armour, these troopers, or burners as they are also known, are specialised stormtroopers effective at crowd control and inflicting great devastation and damage onto enemies. They are effective at clearing out groups of enemies and splitting squads apart with their flamethrower. These troopers, like any other, have humble beginnings from their predecessors of the Clone Wars, the Clone Flame Troopers. The Clone Flame Troopers of the Galactic Republic served under Jedi General Ki-Adi-Mundi during the Clone Wars. These troopers were present during the Second Battle of Geonosis and were very effective at clearing out the Geonosian warriors that plagued the various battlefields and tunnel systems throughout the planet. They were given instructions by Clone Commander CC-1993 or Jet, and were seen as a very effective and specialised unit of clones created for a specific task such as crowd control, dispersing enemies, destroying rubble and fending off large beasts or anything that poses a threat on certain planets. Against Geonosian sonic blasters and other dangerous weapons which inflicted brutal damage on their victims, the Clone Flame Trooper was extremely proficient at keeping the users of these weapons as far away from allied clones as possible, especially during close quarters combats where these weapons such as sonic blasters were very dangerous to go up against as they turned your insides into goop. Not a pretty thought. With the end of the Republic, these troopers were eventually phased out of course in favour of the Incinerator Stormtroopers, which utilised many of the same tactics and battle strategies that the Clone Flame Troopers used. But with that, let's talk about the characteristics of the Incinerator Troopers. The Incinerator Trooper is equipped with standard Stormtrooper armour with pronounced red markings running along the edge of the armour pieces and running up the middle of the helmet, as well as a red pauldron, similar to Shock Troopers. These markings are a good indicator of the role that these troopers play out in a battlefield, and provide a clear warning to other troopers to stay out of their way due to the devastation they can cause. The armour they wear is resistant to heat and extreme temperatures that could prove dangerous to living beings, especially in buildings and tight spaces. Along with heat and cold resistance, the armour they wear comes equipped with many of the same features worn by other members of the Trooper Corps, such as Stormtroopers, Scout Troopers, Jump Troopers and so on. The armour has a built-in HUD and display that allows them to detect movement, as well as give information on a target they are trying to attack. This HUD also features the ability to see through smoke, which is extremely helpful for these troopers as they work within fire and other elements of a similar nature. The helmet also features a built-in oxygen filtration system, which works on planets with toxic environments as well as within smoke, which again is extremely useful for Incinerator Troopers as they work with smoke, especially inside environments where smoke cannot easily escape. Of course, this wouldn't be Stormtrooper armour without a built-in connection to the galaxy-wide HoloNet, which allows them to keep up with the state of the galaxy and allows their commanding officers to determine what mission they should be participating in. And speaking of missions, let's talk about the weapon used by Incinerator Troopers. The Incinerator Trooper of course utilises a flamethrower, which is capable of outputting a large amount of fire, which can be devastating for anyone or anything that happens to get in that firing arc. Along with this, the flamethrower they use is strong enough to burn buildings, structures and fortifications to the ground in a matter of minutes. This flamethrower that they use is connected to a pack on their back that supplies the flamethrower with fuel and allows it to fire. As well as that, these troopers most likely also come equipped with an E11 blaster rifle and several different types of grenades such as thermal detonators, incendiary grenades, smoke bombs and so on to add fuel to their fires. Overall, these troopers don't have the same diverse arsenal like other members of the Trooper Corps, as they really don't need to. The Incinerator Trooper is trained in specialised operations that require their skills. Their flamethrower is also powerful enough to allow them to take on small to medium-sized squads of enemy infantry. This flamethrower makes them an extremely formidable and dangerous trooper, so with that, let's talk about their role out in the battlefield. Out on a battlefield, the Incinerator Trooper is responsible for dealing colossal damage to enemy forces utilising their flamethrower. This flamethrower can be used to split enemy squads apart, as to allow ally stormtrooper squads to take out each of their soldiers one by one. These troopers also act as frontline assaults and defences, directly taking on enemy soldiers with overwhelming force using a mix of their incendiary grenades and flamethrower to push the enemy back, cap a point, make a siege or destroy a blockade, destroy a base, and so on. Speaking of bases, the Incinerator troopers are most effective indoors and within tighter spaces, which allows them to directly burn or take out their enemies without the need to focus on accuracy and effectiveness. Against heavily armoured vehicles or speeders, these troopers may struggle as some tanks, speeders and walkers are armed with exterior plating and destructive weaponry that is capable of keeping these troopers at a distance. To combat this, the Incinerator trooper may rely on grenades and explosives as well as teamwork to take out heavily armoured vehicles. Speaking of teamwork, these troopers are usually at the forefront of siege operations, leading the charge or making their way with larger squads to assault and incinerate the enemies due to their destructive potential, making them an extremely useful and powerful asset to the Galactic Empire. Thanks for watching, long live the Empire, and may the Force be with you.